February 14th. Regardless if you had a significant other to celebrate your Valentine's Day with, or if you were single, happy Valentine's Day to you. I hope that you've had a wonderful day so far. And yeah, two topics we're going to talk about. First, we're going to be talking about the longevity mindset and love. And number two, we're going to talk about why you must love yourself first in order to love others, which ties into the first one as well. Before we get to that, if we recap on what we talked about last time, our last live, we talked about these three topics. One, why being calm is more powerful than being loud. You guys can check this out on my last live as well. Two, discipline is boring until you see results. I explained that. And number three, why people talk when you're starting something big. Now, going back, longevity mindset and love. Guys, many people have love in a way that doesn't build long term, and they might have love misunderstood. Love is not something that is short term. Love is not something that you feel one day and then the next you don't. What love truly is at its core is you loving this person long term, even when the spark dies. Obviously, when you first meet a person, whether if it's a man meeting a woman or a woman meeting a man, there's a spark. However, when you keep on seeing this person, when you constantly have to keep on seeing them and being around them, that the flare goes away. If eventually, it will go away. Therefore, what's left is the foundation built. If there is no foundation, then when that spark is gone, the partner will leave. That significant other will leave, which means it wasn't built on true love. The longevity mindset and love is you guys learning each other, sharpening each other, growing with one another. That is what it's truly about. This is why many people are wanting to convert to Christians and following Jesus' teachings, because Jesus teaches these things. He teaches you to not only look at the attraction, but to look at her core values, to look at if her life aligns with the core values that she's preaching or talking about. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be perfect as a person. You do not have to be perfect. However, if you are trying to live up to standards that produce long-term results, well, then you'll do good. What's good, Venom? We'll see if Mason joins. I'm not sure if Mason will join, but he'll probably join a little bit earlier, or a little later. What's good, Savannah? What's good, guys? Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm explaining the longevity mindset and love. I'm explaining that love is not solely just the spark; it's the foundation. After that spark is gone, because eventually, once you've seen your partner on a long enough time frame, the spark goes away. The all moment disappears. So if there's no foundation under it, well, then you might break up, you might split, and it might not last. However, if there's a foundation that's built, if you guys actually learn each other's core values, not only that, aligning each other with long term values, then what will happen is you guys will build a fruitful marriage, a fruitful relationship, a fruitful friendship, whatever you want to do. It really depends. You have to have a good mindset as well. Which ties into my second point, actually, why you must love yourself first in order to love others. Guys, the reason why many people on the internet say, build yourself first, level up first, is because you cannot go out to the world and expect to love others or treat others good if you don't treat your own self good, if you don't love yourself. Yo, what's up, bro? What's up? You have to be able to love yourself first, because if you could love yourself first, you're able to go out to the world and show that same energy. Now, the question is, how do you start loving yourself? It could start with affirmations. It could start with you going to the gym. It could start with you praying every morning. It can start with you going in the mirror and saying, I am that man, or I am that guy. You have to be positive, and you must put in the work too. Don't say these things without putting in the work. Many people think if they could just say something and then just be lazy, that somehow their life is going to change. That's not how it changes. If you're going to say, I am that guy, prove to the world and prove to yourself, especially, that you are that guy, that you are who you say you are. It takes time, it takes practice, but eventually, once you align your actual actions with the words that you are saying, eventually you will see the fruits of what you've been saying, and not only saying but doing. You are that one of God's names, exactly, and it all starts with affirmations. However, the difference between when Jesus said it is he actually had evidence, he actually had action steps that proved that he is who he says he is. Many people try to say that they're this, but in all actuality, they're not. And you don't want to live in this delusional fantasy world. So if you want to be positive, you must start to align your actions with it. If you're not going to align your actions with what you're saying, then you're just going to live in delusion. And that's not how you build either. And that's not how you love yourself, because one of the first ways to love yourself is making sure that you could trust yourself. If you can't even trust yourself, how can you love yourself? You have to be able to trust. However, a man's word, when you speak, regardless if you're a man or a woman, you should try to stick to your word. There was this one time, and I was on Facebook, and I saw this girl's bio, and it said that she wanted to read the Bible. I said, let's do a Bible study. Now, she wasn't my type specifically. However, I said to myself, I'm going to keep my word and do the Bible study, because just because she isn't my type doesn't mean that I'm going to go back on my word and say, oh, never mind, because I'm not attracted to you, I'm not going to do it. No, I still decided to follow through, and I still decided to do it. Well, I was going to do it, but she hasn't reached back out. You kind of look like a soldier. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, it all starts within. It all starts internally also. When you're building yourself, it starts with you building yourself from the inside, not the outside. You grinding is not you getting all the fast cars, you getting all the houses, you getting all the matches, you getting all the girls, because you're missing something. That's that internal piece. Once you can work on yourself, when you get money, it amplifies that piece to some degree. The money only exposes and amplifies your life. I saw a video of Neon. Right, Neon has a lot of money. He's a famous Twitch streamer, and he spent $10,000 on a girl apparently for just existing on the planet, for breathing. That's why he gave her 10,000. The problem with that is, if you ain't getting laid, or there's no benefit or ROI, then it's pointless. It's pointless in you doing that, because now she's just going to look at you as a funding tool. So go to her iPhone, type in funding tool, and every time she needs money, she will hit you up, and you don't want to be that guy, because once she knows you as the funding guy, she will never respect you as a person. She'll look at you as the guy who gives her money. There must be some form of ROI. This is how it goes. If there isn't an ROI, what's the point? However, Neon doesn't know the game. So once Neon can know the game, he will then know, dang, if I'm not getting an ROI, then why the freak am I giving you $10,000? However, until he learns, until he assesses himself and say, this is a waste of time, he'll keep on giving money to women. That's just how it is. You have to work on yourself. And that even ties back to the point why you need to love yourself in order to love others, in order to respect others. You have to respect yourself. You have to set boundaries yourself and stick to those boundaries. Your word must be iron will. If you can't trust your word, what can you trust? When you say something, you have to do it. And also, another thing, if you say something and you don't do it, there must be a direct consequence to you not doing it. For example, if you say you are going to go to the gym and you're too lazy to go to the gym, that's fine. However, there must be a consequence that you hate. So that every time you do not do what you said that you were going to do, there's a consequence. Which then, the very next time, will more than likely make you want to do it, because you know there's a direct cost and consequence to you not doing it. Yeah, guys. Hopefully everyone's having a good Valentine's Day. For this live, like I said, we're mainly ranting. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. You can always drop them in the comments. Yeah, guys. Even eventually, right? Even if you want to get married or you want to build long-term relationships, it starts with loving yourself. And once you can love yourself, you can start to love others. And once you learn about others and love others, you can actually build something that's in the longevity sense of building. All the short-term stuff is fleeting. Short-term stuff, it feel you want to know what the thing is, right? And why so many men can relate to this. When you do something that's short term, it always feels good in the moment. Like I actually want, if you guys know this, or if you guys want to try this, try ordering something, a package, right? Just something off of an emotional response. When the package isn't at your door, you're most excited for it. And you're so excited for it, you can't wait for it to come. You're looking out the window to see if it's there. The second you get the package and it's in your hand and you unbox it, you go, like, wasn't even worth it. It's crazy because the temporary feeling makes you feel good, but then once it's done, once you've seen the package or once you've finished that temporary feeling moment, time passes along and you go, why do you still feel empty? Why did it feel like you just wasted time? What was the point? The reason why that feeling is there is because it's either you did a emotional spending, right? It was either emotional spending or it's a fleeting moment. Can you give me shout out to Forever Twins? Yeah, shout out to you, bro. Wait, Venom, are you still here by chance or nah? I don't know. You probably left, but oh, dang. I didn't even know you were still there. Apparently, I don't think Mason is gonna come. Mason's probably doing something. You don't think so? Yeah, I don't think he's gonna come, but it's fine. He'll probably come on the next live. I'll say a few more things, chat. My phone's on 10%. So this live is gonna be pretty short. Also, guys, if you don't have a Valentine, you don't need to feel bad. I do know that social media can make you feel like you're being left out, but it's more of a mindset thing. As long as you have God, you'll be all right. And even if you don't believe in God, at least try to believe in yourself or something. Because if you don't believe in yourself, what do you have? Especially if you don't believe in God. At least if you don't believe in yourself, you have God, which can give you the confidence to start believing in yourself. However, if you don't have God and then you don't believe in yourself, well, now you made it extremely and exceptionally hard. But yeah, guys, I was reading the Bible, and we can go and talk about this. I was reading the Bible with my brother, and I'm on Genesis chapter. I think I'm almost on chapter 38 now. We was reading about how Jacob favored Joseph over all of the siblings. And the main core problem of this is that once you favor someone and once it looks like you're favoring one kid over all the rest of your kids, that's where jealousy comes in, resentment comes in, and those emotions, once those are activated, bypasses all sorts of logic, meaning that they're only going to be thinking about getting revenge. They're not thinking about the aftermath. They're not thinking about long term. They're thinking about get this guy out of here now. The same thing happened when Rebecca told Jacob to take Esau's blessing. The same thing happened. So this is by pattern recognition that we can see it. This is why Rebecca told Jacob to go somewhere else until Esau cooled down. because she knew Jacob would have been dead. Esau wasn't thinking about no long-term consequence. He wanted to get him out of there. And I can't blame him because why, especially if your brother took your blessing, of course you're going to be mad. Another thing that Rebecca did that was messed up was use Jacob's blindness to, or not Jacob, Isaac. She used Isaac's blindness to her advantage, which is, I think that was messed up, but hey. However, the key point I'm getting to is when you take someone's stuff or you're favoring someone, resentment comes from the people around you. Jealousy comes. And once that comes, there's no telling what will happen. You are on chapter 38? Oh, okay, okay. I'm gonna go get some water real quick. Do I have water in my room? Don't have any water. All right, let me see if I can pause the live real quick. Let me see. Mm. Oh, I guess I'll just do that. All right, I will be right back. Wait, you said different profile picture? What do you mean? It's the same profile picture. Yeah, guys. Also, I actually want to explain this also. If you have a skill, if you have something that you're good at and you're getting low views, that does not mean you're doing anything wrong. What that means, if your skill is mastered or you're very good at it, it means that you don't have the attention. I saw this thing on RWE, right? And his name is Caleb Jones. Bro, a nice elite 3-point scorer. However, nobody knew who he was until he came to OTE, which is exactly and precisely the point. Guys, if you have a skill, but nobody knows you, then that skill is invisible until people know you. However, if you have attention without a skill, well, then it's just noise because you have attention for no reason. But once you have the skill and you have attention, now those are the two things that will skyrocket you, whether if that's in business, basketball, football, sports, painting, whatever, you name it. You need to have both. If you have one without the other, it's not going to work. I would recommend you build a skill first and then have the attention. It's way better to do it that way. Most people want to get the attention first and then try to build the skill. No, if you have the skill first and you have the attention, then it's only going to amplify what's already there. It's not going to do anything different. We're in a time now that you can sit on a camera, make whatever content, and it go viral. I've seen content of dogs go viral, cats, movies, just clips of people doing this stuff. Like, we're in a time now where dang near anything can be content. Anything can go viral. So you might as well just try. Might as well. Don't be a guy on the sidelines talking. Those people are one of the most annoying type of people, and those, like, it doesn't make any sense. For some reason, it's always the person on the sidelines who have the most to say. They've never gotten in the field. They've never, let's say it's boxing, they've never gotten in the ring. They never got put through the test, but they have so much to say. It's crazy. It's like if you really didn't care, you wouldn't even bother even talking. I saw this one TikTok as well earlier from Shaq with 2Q. Shout out to him. He said, the more famous you get or the more wins you get, the less people will like you. Not because you're an evil person, but because people, for some reason, would rather resent you, would rather be jealous of you than support a brother. Like, why? You know why? You know why? Because hating is free. It takes no money, it takes no cost, it takes no analysis to hate. And if you were to hate on a person, literally some people are just weird. Bro, tell me about it. Literally. If if in order to hate on somebody, they had to pay $300 out of their pocket just to type in a hate comment, you wouldn't have to worry about hate. However, because hating is free and it takes no type of self analysis or any responsibility, nothing hard, they do it. Let the cost be $1 million. You would see no hate then. It's crazy. And that's why most people do it because it's way easier to hate on someone than to literally ask that same exact person, how do I do this? Because it hurts the ego. Drop the ego. Sometimes the reason why you can't grow is because of your ego. It is blocking you from your blessings. It is blocking you from you learning. It is blocking you from actually getting the life that you want to some degree. If you are only going to learn from people who you think have the knowledge because they're older, and you're not going to listen to younger people, you're going to ignore them, well, then that's your ego talking. Some people think just because they're older that they know more. That is simply not the case. You may know more things and better things in some aspects of life, but we have the technology generation. Therefore, we will more than likely know more. And if you have open ears and you're willing to hear and your ego's pretty calm, you'll be good because you'll always want to learn no matter who it is, no matter how old they are, no matter if they're older or young. I know literally some people are just weird. That's just how people are, man. Literally how people are. It's like you could get the same exact help. You could literally do the exact same thing I'm doing, but they don't want to put in the work. They want the results that these top Twitch streamers have or that these people have, but they don't want to put in the work. And the problem is, if you don't want to put in the work, then why well, you can't complain if you don't have the result. That is literally the exact equivalent to me wanting to heat up a pizza, but I don't want to put it in the microwave or the oven. Like, and then after I'm complaining that my pizza isn't warm. But put it in the microwave. Like it's the same thing. Grind. It's the same exact thing. You have to start with the foundation, and then you must build your layers brick by brick. They have no lives, and exactly. They're just like, oh, you got lucky. I don't. They always say that. It's crazy. They don't see the years of work, the years of suffering, the years of pain that you have had to go through. So when they just see the results, their brain instantly reverts to, oh, he must have got lucky. Not because that person specifically got lucky, but because if they have to accept and admit that this person worked hard, then they would also have to accept that they're lazy and that they can get the life that they want. They just are too lazy to do it. They don't want to accept that because that's that responsibility factor. So they say, ah, he got lucky. The luckiness soothes the ego. There's no challenge to that. It's just, oh, he's chosen from the gods. Zeus, Zeus, Zeus chose this person to win. And stop that nonsense. There is no gods choosing this person. Put in the work. That is it. Like they want to see some mystical thing that like God has like an 8 ball or something. He's like, let me shake it real quick. Chris, you're the winner. Like it's not how it works. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's consistent and relentless execution. That's what it is. It's not an 8 ball. It's no magic. It's no fortune cookie. It's not luck. It's them deciding to show up when others would have quit. That's it. There is no secret method. You want to know what's crazy? When you first get into how to make online money and how to get rich, get successful, stuff like that, I think at one point we all thought there was some secret formula to getting rich. There's actually no secret formula to getting rich. It's actually all the information is out on the internet right now to how you can start being disciplined and start making money. Number one, if you want to start making money, start being more disciplined. When you are emotionally spending, 9 times out of 10, you are buying a temporary feeling, and then after the feeling goes away, or no, the feeling is there for a second. You feel it, but then it goes away. Therefore, it's like, was that even worth it? If you're gonna keep on emotionally spending, then you're never gonna have any money. You have to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to be disciplined, even if it's hard. It is going to be hard. You are going to feel friction. You are going to question yourself. You're going to do this. We can even compare this to being a Christian, right? You're gonna have friction. You're going to have friction as a Christian. Let me actually make that clear. You are going to have friction. There's going to be days where it's like, my flesh wants to do this, but the spirit wants to do this, but my flesh wants to do this. Like it's a spiritual fight. And the thing is, you're not weak if you feel it. It's actually the complete opposite. You're actually strong because you only have that friction once you know the battle that you're dealing with. If there's no friction, you're just doing everything that you want to do. There's no friction. The second you want to change, that's where the friction begins. If you've been drinking daily, for example, if you've been drinking 7 days a week, every single day, and someone comes along and says, you have to stop drinking, there's the friction right there. You're like, because you have to think about it, because your brain instantly goes, nah. Not because you're weak, and not because you can't do it, but because you're so used to drinking that now when it's time for change, your body doesn't want to do it because your brain is so familiar to you drinking. It doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to be uncomfortable. It doesn't want to learn another habit. It wants to stick to the habits that it already knows. That's what it wants to do. That's the friction right there. The gateway is the friction. You must have friction. There is no other way to it. The brain does not like the idea of change. Exactly. The brain doesn't. That's why most people, they stay stuck where they are. They can do it. These people can get to where they want to get to. However, in order to get to where you want to get to, you must have friction. You must be uncomfortable. There's no other way around it. I saw a Instagram story. It was saying most people, when they start a business or when they want to change their life, they quit after 6 months. It said Jeff Bezos was investing in Amazon even with little money for 7 years. 7 years. Now that may seem short to people, but with that business not making a lot of money for 7 years, come on, man. Most people would have been quit because in order for you to last in business, it does not take a course. It takes you to internally decide, are you going to keep on having instant gratification or are you going to finally learn how to delay gratification? Once you can delay gratification, you can actually stay in business quite longer. It all starts internally. It's crazy, but it does. It does not start with money. It does not start with influence. It does not start with power. It starts with yourself. If you don't know how to control yourself, how are you going to control money? How are you going to control a relationship? Not even control a relationship, but how are you going to be the man that you want and need to be in a relationship? You have to be able to do the internal groundwork. And that is how the external stuff will eventually come and show. It does not start with external stuff. A misconception that people have with Christians is that you can't be rich. And the main reason why they say this is because usually when they see people who are up there, they've usually done some heinous thing or some crime or they've done something. However, you can generally be rich and still follow God. You could do both. It is possible. I know most people don't think it's possible, but it is. It is possible. Yeah, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end right here. Hopefully, you guys have a wonderful rest of your night and Valentine's. And we'll see y'all next week. See y'all on the next one. Peace out.